of the Senate and my distinguished colleagues. First, I would like to begin my remarks by commending the mover of this motion for bringing this very serious development to the attention of this Senate and through the Senate to the entire nation. I would also like to commend you, Mr. President, and the Senate for properly exercising the judgment in determining that this matter is serious and is urgent enough to be discussed here and now as we are doing. Having said so, Mr. President, we all in this chamber and in this country are aware of the sad developments arising from the judgment of the International Court of Justice some years back and the Green Tree Agreement made pursuant thereto, and the steps to the chagrin of most in this country, and particularly those of us in that area. Nigeria took steps to give effect and withdrew sovereignty, leaving a lot of communities, indigenous communities of Nigerians, residing in local government areas recognized under the Constitution of this country. They were left stranded in Akwa Ibom State and in Cross River State. Mr. President, you were not part of the delegation last week of the leadership of the Niger Delta to the President, but I know you must have been briefed. And let me inform us that in that interaction with the President, amongst other things, the plight of our communities and indigenous people in Akwa Ibom and Cross River, suffering in that area, was brought again to the attention of the President to call on the Nigerian authorities to come to their rescue. And I think what is happening this morning is an extension of that concern. I know that a number of colleagues here rightly will be asking, these communities and areas that this motion is drawing attention to, were they part of the ICJ judgment and the subsequent Green Tree Agreement? I think those are issues that call for closer examination of the facts and calls to question the need why the Senate must direct an inquiry so that we can determine, firstly, in the course of that inquiry, whether these communities and these people were affected by that ICJ judgment and the Green Tree Agreement and the subsequent withdrawal of sovereignty by the federal government of Nigeria. But let me say also that even if communities were affected, for those who were affected by the ICJ judgment and the agreements that were entered into, the agreement itself and the judgment, if you read closely, imposes duties and obligations on the government of Cameroon and also on the Nigerian government. The people are here to see these benefits or support from either the government of Nigeria or the government of Cameroon. As a matter of fact, a number of them, rightly speaking, can be considered, unfortunately, stateless. Stateless. Whereas the security officials and people from Cameroon treat them anyhow, the government of Nigeria, too, has also abandoned them. And come to think of it, in their own ancestral lands. These are people who are indigenous to those areas, who were there before the formation of Nigeria in 1914, the amalgamation, and they were there before even Cameroon came into existence. But as a result of interplay of international forces beyond their control, they are left abandoned. No one considers them as citizens. No one owes legal responsibilities to them, and it cannot be so. And it is to that extent, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, that I fully associate myself with the motion and the prayers and request that an inquiry be set up so that we can interfere, we can talk to our Nigerian authorities, visit the areas, and then see for ourselves whether these were part of the ICJ and the Green Tree Agreement. And if they were not, then it means that they are part and parcel of Nigeria, internationally speaking, according to international law. And if they are, then the Nigerian government has to stand up for them, the Nigerian government has to fight for them. These are areas that some years back, the former head of the state of this country, General Abacha, may God bless his soul, knew what to do, showed commitment to the territorial integrity of our nation, and deployed troops to protect. Nations fight for land, nations fight for resources, and the Nigerian government must stand up and defend the people and the land and the territory that is in question. Even if we make a determination that they were covered by the ICJ agreement, ICJ judgment, and the Green Tree Agreement pursuant to it, there are still obligations. The Nigerian government must still show itself as a responsible state power to protect the interests of the communities and the people in Akwa Ibom and in Cross River State, to take up those issues with international bodies and specifically with the government of Cameroon, and ensure that they are given all the succor and support that they are entitled to under municipal law and also under international law and treaties. Thank you very much, Mr. President.